Hmm. Hey, so welcome to today's live stream. We're going to talk about creation. We're going to talk about how to create life and create your day. There we go, clicking live on the gram. So um, here's the interesting thing. You know this intrinsically in your heart, right? But I'll bet most of you don't do something with it on purpose. Each of us as human beings, come into the world kind of blank slate, not a lot of programming, right? We need to eat and poop and be loved. And the more we have of those things, the better off we are. And the less we have, the more we just develop coping mechanisms. And that whole process develops a view, a world view. I got a friend that calls it an operating system, and I love that designation. We develop this sort of worldview. The world is a safe place. The world is a scary place. I can get what I want. I can't get what I want. It is safe. It is dangerous. I get the encouragement I need. I don't get the encouragement I need. And we don't think about those things. When we're young, we just experience that, and that turns into how we view the world. None of this is news, right? And so that goes with us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's all kinds of different studies about how long that lasts and what that takes and all the rest. The reason I want to talk about this today is because you're an adult now, probably. Most of the viewers of mine are over 18, over 20, over 30, all ages, but most of them are adults and well into their adulthood. So we have this base layer, this view of the worldview, this operating system. I call it a context. And I want you to think about this. We're in the middle of the final days of a hard-fought, noisy, ugly, I think, election campaign for president and for other offices. Okay, fine. It's been messy, name calling, pointing. Everybody says the other person's bad. Yeah, okay. And that's not good, because it evokes all this fear and negativity and all that garbage in us. But I want you to think about how you view the world in general. Do you view it as an opportune place? Do you view it as a beautiful place, a fun place, a terrible place, a scary place, a wealthy place, a poor place, where there's lots of opportunity or a little opportunity? All of that is our operating system or context. Now, the reason I raise the political stuff is because one of the things you hear all the time, someone will attack someone else, and then somebody, in answer, they'll say, well, that was taken out of context. And context is the frame around any event, whether it's words or something we're doing, that gives it meaning, right? If I throw a baseball, it doesn't mean anything by itself. If the context is a baseball game and somebody's running around bases, it takes on a completely different meaning. If I say the words, I love you, if I say the words, I love you, and the context is an empty stadium with no one in it, it means one thing. If I have a microphone and I'm talking to 100,000 people and I shout, I love you, the context changes the meaning. So you have a life context, a worldview, an operating system that shapes, and so do I, we all do, what we think. Now, here's the secret. This is what I want to tell you about creation. The way you view this operating system exists. Most of us go through life without realizing we have a context running in the background underneath everything. That's how come two different people can visually see and hear the same experience and interpret it completely differently. Their context, their operating system is different. Now, there are some events that go on in your life that create your context, your beliefs, and those come about because of everything that goes on around you, mostly in the past. Your definitions, those definitions are given to us this way, that way, parents, teachers, religion, friends, all those things give us beliefs, definitions, experiences, things that happen, expectations, what we believe is going to happen or is possible, and perceptions, how we perceive that. And I call it a be deep. Beliefs, definitions, experiences, expectations, and perceptions. That pile of stuff forms my context and yours. But what we don't realize most of the time is that that exists. And that's what gives rise to such division among people. Some people look at other people and believe they're less than or more than, they're more fortunate than or better than or worse than. And none of that's true, but it's true because of somebody's context. Now, you know what I'm talking about. What we don't think about is that context or operating system is running all the time, 100% in the background and controlling what we think and feel and then what we do. Wow, what a piece of information. So the first piece of info about creating yourself, intentionally like you want to be, is one, realize there is such an operating system. There is such a context running in the background underneath everything all the time. The second big realization is you have access to that context, that operating system, beliefs, definitions, experiences, expectations, and perceptions. You have access to them. And what I mean by that isn't that you can change the past. Of course you can't. You can change how you view things. You can change what you choose to let it mean to you. You need to sit with that for a while, because we live in a place where we think, well, that means what it means. You said that, so duh, you mean this. And the truth is, we have actually no idea. I've had so many conversations when I became aware that I'm living in this context. When I would talk to somebody and I would say, and I'm thinking of a notable one, my angel wife, Joy, when I was making huge changes in my life when we got together in 2007. And if you don't know that story, then you can read all about it in a book, Tightrope of Depression, because I'd struggled with decades for untreated, undiagnosed depression. It was wrecking my life. So I had a lot of work to do, and I did it. But in the process of doing that, I realized I was hearing things a certain way in our relationship, and realizing that was just my filter. Another way to think of a context is a filter, the way we hear something or the way we see something. It's like if I was colorblind. I don't see well. I wear great big fat contacts. But the filter that we have in our eyes, if we're colorblind, means we don't see certain colors. I have hearing problems. I have to wear hearing aids. That means I don't hear certain frequencies. The filter, the failure of some nerves and things, means that I don't hear certain things that others would hear in that situation. Well, this filter, this context that we have is exactly the same. It interprets for us. So it exists and you have access to it, meaning I can get contacts. I can tune up my eyes. I can get hearing aids. I can tune up my ears. I can examine my beliefs and experiences and expectations and say, wow, is that true? And I can change them. So that's the thing. There is an operating system, or there is a context or a set of filters. You have access to them. They're not permanent, and you can change them. Let me give you an example. If something happened, you maybe this has happened to you, someone goes into bankruptcy. At the time that happens, they may feel that it's the worst thing that ever happened to them. They're embarrassed. They don't want anybody to know. They view it as a personal failure. They're worthless, whatever. A lot of story about that. I'm not saying everyone does, but that has happened. I had a bankruptcy in the 90s, so 30 years ago. I viewed that. I'm a failure. I did this. Oh, crap, et cetera, et cetera. Today, I have changed the filter. I view that as a blessing, an opportunity to learn. So instead of having it ruin me, which it did at the time, it now has refined me. It's made me more patient, more tolerant, more understanding of others, more loving, more kind, more forgiving for myself and others and mistakes and events that happen. So here's the thing about self-creation. You have a context or a filter or an operating system running in the background all the time. It isn't anything except your own perceptions. That's it. You have access to that operating system or that context or that set of filters. Like you have access to them. It's not defined that way. People say, that's just how I am. That's nonsense. That is utter and absolute nonsense. That's how you are right now, but you weren't born that way. You learned that because of those experiences and things that happened to you. So you have access to it and you can change it. Now, with those three fundamental things, you have a background operating system or context. You have access to it. You can change it. Now, from that place, we can understand what it means to create yourself. Okay. In that, what that means, and here's how I use it, and you're free to do it like you want. That means every time I wake up, every single day, I intentionally do a set or think a set of actions, behaviors, and practices that make me happy, make me feel good, connected, awake, loving, and kind. So because I do that every day, I start every day in a state of feeling connected, loving, kind, powerful, creative, and all of those good things. Isn't that interesting? So no matter how I wake up, I have and I get access to that operating system or that set of beliefs, and I mess with them. I call my declarations a PTAC, personal truth and commitment document. It's a thing that I've crafted just for me, special, unique, and powerful. For me, makes me feel good and connected to the divine and to my precious angel wife and to my life purpose. Makes me love my kids more. Makes me love myself more. Makes me love you, people that I talk to, more. I have a client meeting today that's going to run long, 6 hours. With a company that I'm working with. I love them already, and I've been thinking about them all morning in a gentle and loving way. And so I do a set of practices. So I have a document and a set of practices that I use in a careful, intentional way to do what? To create Kellan. So when I start my day, meaning interacting with others, whether it's text or phone or emails or coaching or videos or anything, I start it from a place of love, growth, abundance, kindness, and all those good words that feel so good. When I didn't do that as a practice, then other things, how I left yesterday, old arguments, frustrating messages or emails, an ache in my back, all those things, they started my day for me and they set how I'm going to be. And what I've discovered is, damn, I get to control that system. I get to control that context. So my context for every single day is love, creativity, joy, kindness, excitement, fun. Woo-hoo! Imagine that. Now, I don't have time to teach all there is about that right now, but it's the most powerful thing I've ever done. I changed my life radically in 2007 after a 30-year career in corporate. In the last 17 and a half, going on 18 years, almost 2 decades now, I've done nothing except work on this process to learn how to create my day powerfully on purpose every day, to take advantage of that, to do my 3 power words: love, create, serve. So I start today loving you and the people I'm going to work with today. I'm going to create miracles today for me, for them, for you, for anyone. When I talk to people, one of my main questions is I ask them, what miracle can we create today? Because it's possible. We get to create. And that comes from the fact that you, me, we're divine beings. We got divine DNA. We just mostly don't use it. We mostly don't access those controls. We leave all that power, money, service, capability on the table. And we wait for some externality to activate us. When I realized that, and of course that comes in layers, right? It isn't all at once. When I realized that, it just changed the game. Everything, everywhere, all the time. And that's the ultimate life. Purpose, prosperity, and joy every day, not accidentally, not because some magic fairy dinged me on the head, but because I created. My work is to help 300 million people this year become aware of their ability to create their own life exactly like they want, and then help them do it. Help you realize you can create all the wealth, abundance, prosperity, and impact you want to, if you're willing to do the work. I know what that's involved because I did it over the last 17, 18 years. And man, the outcome is more glorious and delightful than I can imagine. It is so beautiful. If you want to know more, reach out. Let's talk. Every book I've written, and I've written 20, every video I make, every program I've created, it is all aimed at one thing, helping you understand you can create the life you want. You're not subject to outside forces. I know crap happens around all of us, but you can still create the life you want. Even with a pile of crap, you can say, what glory and miracle can I create from this pile of crap? And the answer is, I don't know. But there is something beautiful in you, around you, and because you are amazing. I love you. I'd love to help you and count you among the 300 million I got to love, encourage, and serve. We'll see you tomorrow.